What if one of the world's most popular drugs wasn't working the way we thought? Every day around 2 billion cups of coffee are consumed around the world. Most of us think we know why. Coffee wakes us up. The caffeine hits our brain. We feel more alert. End of story? But scientists are increasingly discovering that something much more interesting may be happening. Your morning coffee doesn't just affect your brain, it also affects your gut. And your gut may be helping shape how coffee influences your mood, stress levels, and potentially cognition. In fact, some recent studies have found that researchers can predict whether you're a coffee drinker simply by looking at your gut microbiome. So today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating discoveries in nutrition science, how coffee may be reshaping your brain through your gut. The coffee paradox. So coffee has had a strange reputation over the years. At different times, it has been blamed for everything from anxiety to heart disease. Yet large population studies find that moderate coffee consumption is associated with a range of health benefits. People who drink coffee often have lower risks of several chronic diseases and in some studies tend to live longer. For years, scientists assumed caffeine was doing most of the heavy lifting, but here's the puzzle. Decaffeinated coffee often shows surprisingly similar health associations. So what else might be going on? Well, meet your second brain. Inside your digestive tract live trillions of microbes. Together they form what we call the gut microbiome. This microbial ecosystem helps digest foods, produces metabolites, so special chemicals, interacts with the immune system and communicates with the brain through what scientists call the gut-brain axis. See my other video on this. Think of it as a biological internet connecting your gut and your brain. Signals travel through nerves and hormones and immune molecules and through chemicals produced by microbes themselves that live in your gut. This means that what feeds your microbiome can ultimately influence your brain. And that's where coffee enters the story. In 2024, researchers analysed microbiome data from more than 22,000 people across multiple international cohorts. What they found was remarkable. The strongest food microbiome association they identified involved coffee. One particular gut bacterium called Lawsonibacter asaccharylticus was dramatically more abundant in coffee drinkers than non-coffee drinkers. In some cases, coffee drinkers had several times more of this bacterium than people who rarely drank coffee. Even more interestingly, researchers showed that this bacterium actually grows better when exposed to coffee compounds. In other words, coffee wasn't just associated with this microbe, coffee appeared to be feeding it. So why does this matter? At this point you might be thinking, okay Jake, so coffee grows some weird bacterium, why should I care? Well, because gut microbes don't simply sit there in your body, they produce molecules, and those molecules can influence inflammation, metabolism, immunity, and potentially brain function. So Lawsonibacter is thought to be a producer of what we call butyrate. Now, butyrate is one of the most interesting compounds in microbiome science. It helps maintain the gut barrier, it supports immune regulation, and it may influence communication along that gut-brain axis. Now, to be clear, we don't yet know that Lawsonibacter is the reason coffee influences health, but it provides one of the strongest clues yet that microbes may be part of the story. The 2026 coffee experiment. Then things got even more interesting, so researchers at APC Microbiome Ireland and University College Cork ran a study in 2026 looking at coffee, the microbiome and the brain. What they found challenged some long-held assumptions. Both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee were associated with improvements in mood-related measures. Participants reported lower stress and lower depression scores regardless of whether their coffee contained caffeine. That alone is fascinating, right? Because it suggests coffee may be doing more than simply delivering a caffeine hit. The researchers also observed microbiome changes alongside these psychological changes. Now, caffeinated coffee appeared to improve focus and reduce anxiety. Decaffeinated coffee showed intriguing associations with learning and memory. So, is it the caffeine? Not entirely. So, even though it feels like a simple drink, it's actually an extraordinarily complex biological cocktail. A single cup can contain hundreds of compounds, polyphenols, chlorogenic acids, melanoidins, fibers, antioxidants, and of course caffeine. Now, many of these compounds reach the gut, where microbes interact with them and transform them into new molecules. This means coffee isn't simply acting on your brain, it may be acting on an entire ecosystem inside your body, and particularly inside your gut, and that ecosystem may then influence your brain in return. This is where the story becomes bigger than coffee. So what fascinates me is that we're increasingly discovering that many of the things we thought acted directly on the brain may actually be working partly through ecological pathways. pathways, for instance, inside your gut. Your gut isn't just a digestive tube, it's an ecosystem, and ecosystems respond to what we feed them. Coffee, vegetables, ultra-processed foods, all of these shape which microbes thrive and which decline. In many ways, the gut microbiome behaves like a rainforest. Change the environment and you change the community. Change the community and you change the functions it performs. And some of those functions may ultimately influence mood, cognition, and well-being. The important caveat. Now, before everyone rushes out and starts drinking 10 espressos a day, let's be careful. So most of these findings are associations or early mechanistic discoveries. They don't prove that coffee causes better mental health, and they don't prove that one bacterium explains all of coffee's effects. And coffee doesn't work for everyone. Some people experience anxiety and sleep disruption, and some people experience digestive issues or heart palpitations. So the goal isn't to say that coffee is a miracle cure, it's to understand how surprisingly complex the relationship between food, microbes, and the brain really is. For decades, we thought coffee worked mainly because of caffeine. Now scientists are discovering that part of the story may involve trillions of microscopic organisms living inside us. And I think that's a beautiful reminder of something I often talk about on this channel. We're not individuals operating in isolation. We are essentially ecosystems, walking ecosystems. And understanding the health of those ecosystems may be one of the most important scientific frontiers of the 21st century. So next time you sip a coffee, remember, you might not just be feeding yourself, you might be feeding an entire microbial community in your gut, and that community may be talking to your brain. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel grow and allows me to keep making these educational videos. And let me know in the comments, how many cups of coffee do you drink each day? And please check out my website at www.naturegutbrain.com and my personal site jakemrobinson.com, and feel free to sign up to my free newsletter there. Also, check out some of my popular science books. So these books cover a lot of the topics I cover in this channel, and I think you'll really enjoy them. And remember, stay wild inside and out.